Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you?
It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, Tuesday, August 19th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. August 19th is a big day in the Randazzo household. More on that in just a second. But thank you again for watching. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. If you have subscribed, awesome. Thank you. If you haven't, please do so. Also, tell a friend or two or 10 about what we're doing here in the Quad Cities each and every weekday, 10 o'clock, talking sports and a whole bunch more. It's been a ton of fun to do, and it's a great time of year to do so. We got a lot to get to, as I mentioned. Thank you if you're watching on YouTube. If you are watching on X, that's awesome. We are live on X. X has been very good to us as well. We are also available on all the podcasting platforms as well, whether it is Spotify or Apple or Podbean or iHeart, you name it, you should be able to find Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Subscribe there as well. That helps us out a ton. A lot to get to today. Coming up in just a little bit, we're 11 days. I think that's right. 11 days from the start of the college football season in Iowa City. And, 10 days for Illinois and even less for Iowa State. We'll get to those teams throughout the week, but Iowa is 11 days away. And starting next week, we'll start previewing actual games. We'll start previewing Albany and looking at actual individual matchups and all those kind of things. But for one last time, I want to take a big picture look at what's to come. We're going to do that several times this week. Coming up in just a little bit, my good friends Tom Kakert and John Bohnenkamp will join me. We're going to talk about who will lead the Hawkeyes in what statistical categories: sacks, interceptions, rushing yards, all those kind of things. They'll give me their predictions. It's going to be a lot of fun to do because there's so many question marks and unknowns as we enter this season. And on offense, there's more options as well, which is something that's rare in Iowa City. So that will be fun. We'll have John and Tommy joining us in a matter of moments. Also coming up later in hour number 1, college basketball season's not very far away either. I was excited because yesterday Augustana announced its recruiting class for this season. It's a big recruiting class. They lost 8 seniors from last year, 4 local standouts. All of them, I think, will bring something to the program. But there's some transfer kids, some big names that did a lot of great things here playing high school basketball in the Quad Cities. They're coming back to Augustana to play for Jordan Delp in that program. I think it's awesome. We'll talk to JD about that. We'll talk to him also about Chasson Randle making it to the Stanford Hall of Fame. Jordan is somebody that's worked a lot with Chasson Randle throughout the years. So that and a whole bunch more. Catching up with our good friend Jordan Delp later on in hour number 1. And hour number 2, we have our off the air high school football preview. We did a ton with the Illinois side in recent days. So today we're going to hit the Iowa side. We'll head over to Bettendorf High School and talk to Aaron Wiley. He begins his 30th season at Bettendorf. What did we figure out? I think 17th as the head coach, maybe 18th. So we'll talk to Aaron Wiley, good dude, coming up in just a little bit as well. A bunch of stuff along the way to get to. We also want to thank everyone once again who came out to the View from the West kickoff party at the other bar in Moline on Sunday. It was a ton of fun. If you missed any of that, you can check it out on the Off the Air YouTube page and on the View from the West YouTube page as well. We did a lot of yesterday's show, kind of going back and looking at some fun segments from that. So high school football wise in Illinois, it is the must watch. So go check that show out. It was a bunch of fun. Thank you to all our sponsors for helping us do that show on Sunday. Also coming up throughout the year, we're going to take the show on the road. So far, we've taken the show to Oscars, to the John Deere Classic, to Iowa Football Media Day, and now to the other bar, getting comfortable with it. I think it's a ton of fun. I think it's a way to bring the show out to the people. So we'll be doing some more of that throughout the football season as well. More on that coming up in the upcoming weeks as well. Also, if you are a Rock Island resident or even a Quad City resident that goes to the Labor Day Parade in Rock Island, Off the Air is going to be in the parade. We're excited about that. We're going to, and we have some cool things to give out. Something very delicious to give out as well. If you're going to the Rock Island Labor Day Parade coming up in a few weeks, check us out. Say hi, all those kind of things as well. So a few news and notes to get to before we get to a packed show and a bunch of great guests. Cubs lose. They were supposed to play a doubleheader. They lost game 1 to the Brewers, 7-0. So the lead is now 9 in the National League Central. The game number 2 was postponed, so they'll have a doubleheader today at 1:20 and at 7:05. But the Cubs need to get things rolling and quickly. Right now, they're only 4 up for the first wild card spot. So it's become one of those things where they were trying to win the division. Now they're just making sure they got their spot at the table when the postseason gets here. So some big games coming up for the Cubs. Also, Cubs notes, Kyle Tucker's going to sit a few games. Been struggling, so the coach is giving him a few days off to kind of get right. That's a huge bet. You look when the Cubs were rocking and rolling earlier in the season, Kyle Tucker, PCA, so many good players doing good things. Not everyone, but a lot of people slumping at the same time. And that's tough when you're in a pennant race. So Cubs and Brewers today at 1:20 from Wrigley Field. 7:05 is game number 2 today. I look outside and it's cloudy. I think it's warmer and muggy. I get that, but there's schools that don't have school today. My oldest gets out at 11:45. It's not a rant. I don't want to get, but it's weird to me. Like I'm a lefty. These kids won't know what it's like to sit and sweat at a school in the afternoon and have their like paper stick to their forearm because they're working. It's just weird. And then you look outside and it looks like a cloudy fall day. I mean, I'm sure it's warm out there and muggy and all that kind of stuff, but I was actually looking for the temperature to see what the temperature was before I started the show, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So, but yeah, if you're one of those kids that don't have school because it's hot, bless your heart. Hopefully you're back in school tomorrow. My youngest 3 are going all day. I'm excited about that. I think that's kind of cool. So, and last but certainly not least, when it comes to our news and notes of the day, it's a big day in the Randazzo household because this guy right here, he turns 11 years old today. This is my now 11-year-old Chase. I am biased because he's my son, obviously, but there's not too many awesomer young men than Chase. He's sweet, he's kind, he's funny, he's my dude. So yeah, he is loving life. He was like you are before Christmas. He was so excited last night. He couldn't even get to sleep because it's his birthday. Loves sweets, if you couldn't tell, because of the Albanese. We went to the Albanese factory during a baseball trip this year, and yeah, he loved it. So happy birthday to my guy. Competitive, but as sweet as they get. He is 11. He got breakfast in bed. My lovely wife is going to bring him lunch at school, Chick-fil-A, of course. He's got football practice tonight, and then we'll go out to dinner. So he's going to get his celebrating in today. Happy birthday, Chasey. We love you and enjoy the heck out of the day. So we wanted to make sure we gave Chase some love here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. He's going to be thrilled about that, I think. I hope. We'll show it to him later when he gets out of school. So a lot to get to. As we mentioned, Iowa football is right around the corner. The season is coming up quickly. So we got a lot to talk about, and we got 2 guys that have covered Iowa University and Iowa football for a long, long time. So let's talk Hawks, and we're going to do so with 2 of the handsomest fellows I've ever met. I almost said it with a straight face. Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report and John Bohnenkamp joining me right now. Here's the beauty part. I'm trying to figure out, how long have you covered Iowa? How long have you covered Iowa? I want to add it together. I bet you guys have covered the Hawkeyes more years than I've been alive. Is that probably true?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I've
John, you're
done basketball. This will be 33rd season for me for basketball.
You're almost there by yourself.
I know, and then no, stop that. And then if you throw in the time that just full time for football, this will be season 12.
Okay, yeah.
So,
And Tom's been covering the Hawkeyes since Moses, so a lot of Hawkeye experience. And what I want to do, fellas, is I want to do one last look at the season in a big picture, because next week we'll be talking, about an opponent and a game and all those kind of things. And so you kind of, dial it in next week. But I wanted to look at we've talked about predictions of season records and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to get into like the specific categories. And Tommy, you always bring up, and it's true, the last time they had a 1,000-yard receiver, not even that, like a 500-yard receiver.
500.
Gee, many Christmas. And
500 yards.
And all the
wide receiver.
marks.
I should say wide receiver, not
Yes.
tight end. I just
Yes.
assume wide receiver.
And the same thing with like rush. We've talked about the backfield and who's it going to be. And I will say our good friend Pat Anger went up to practice on Saturday, and the first guy he said to me was the McNeil kid was really impressive. So like it's starting to pile up a little bit. So I figured we'd go through and kind of predict between the two great minds that are here with me on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, who leads the Hawkeyes in what category. I will let Tom decide. You want to do offense or defense first? What are you feeling today? Offensive or defensive?
I will do defense.
No, you get to, we're both going to do it, but we're going to bounce back. We'll go with defense first. So,
Yeah.
let's look at the front line. And I think Iowa has a lot of talent coming back up front. I think that's one thing they're excited about. So the question is, who leads the Hawkeyes in sacks? Tom, we'll start with you. Who leads Iowa with sacks this year, and why maybe?
I'm going to go with Max Llewellyn. And that was in my some of these will be kind of repeat stuff from my Fearless Forecast stuff that I did in July. But Max Llewellyn, 10.5 sacks. I think he's going to get double digits. I think he's poised for a great season. The NFL scouts are all over him. They really like what they've seen from him. At the end of last year, the last month of the season, he might have been Iowa's best defensive lineman in pockets. And you look back at the Nebraska game where he forces that fumble and recovers it against Raiola late to set up that game-winning field goal. He's got something to his game, and I think he's gonna get more reps this year because he's gonna be a starter. So I suspect he's gonna have a really terrific start to the season. Those two of those first three games are against teams where he might pile up 5 sacks against those teams. So I'm going Max Llewellyn.
John, what do you like? Who do you like up front when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeyes and sacks this year?
I'm going to go Aaron Graves just because he's good.
All right.
I just think he is. There's just guys that you just learn to really like, and he's that one for me. I love the way he plays. So that's where I'm going to go. But I do think I'm going to go back to your point about the defensive line. Early on, I wasn't quite sure, and now that you look at the guys on that, I think that's going to be a really good line. And I think those guys are going to pile up a lot of sacks. But I'm going to go Aaron Graves on that one.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where that front seven, I know the linebackers are new faces, but everything I hear, they're talented new faces. I think that front seven is something that Iowa can be excited about. Now, the question mark might be, and I don't know if it's a question mark or it's an unknown. I think it's more of an unknown than a question mark, is that secondary. So where does Iowa get those big plays, those interceptions? John, we'll start with you this time. Who leads Iowa in interceptions this year for the Hawkeyes?
This is finally going to be the year that I think Xavier Wamp has a big year. I mean, he's played well. Don't get me wrong, but there's been a lot of every now and then you'll hear some criticism of him. I think this is the year he has a big year, I just think he has been. I just think this feels like one of those years, and the way they've talked about him, and kind of the way he's been. That's where I'm going to go, just because I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's got that in him, and that's where I'm going to go that way.
Yeah, John, it hasn't been bad by any stretch, but I think
No.
when you look at 5-star, those kind of things, it hasn't been a home run yet. It's been a double, if that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, it's been good,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been the home run that maybe some people thought. Tommy, are you an X guy? There's other Entringer and some other interesting talented. And is it going to be a safety? Does any corner step up and carry on that tradition of Iowa cornerbacks?
My initial read was Wampa, because that's who I picked in the preseason thing to have 6 interceptions this year. I just think he is totally comfortable at the free safety position, where it just feels like he always felt like he was kind of square peg in a round hole over at the strong safety position. And free is, he admitted it's like a most comfortable position. But I'm going to go a little different, just to be different, and say Cohen Entringer. We saw it at the Kids Day practice where he had the interception of Gronowski. Just crazy good ball skills. So I'm going to go with Cohen Entringer playing strong safety and having 6 interceptions this year.
It's funny because he seems to just have a nose for the football, a little bit like that. Like where the football goes, he's there some way somehow. So no, I like both. I didn't put this on the text, fellas, so I'm going to kind of give you guys a little tough one. Not a tough one, but maybe an unexpected one. Tackles, because we had linebackers just piling them up last year, and Jay Higgins and everything he's done. Who leads? Is it a linebacker that leads this team in tackles? And if it is, which one is it? Tommy, we'll start with you.
Well, it's the guy that I've been promoting since the spring, and that's Carson Shire.
I feel so bad for Carson because you have been. I have been leading the bandwagon since March that this guy was going to just have. I mean, you talk to any of the coaches, and they will tell you that what they've seen from him when he's healthy is a Big Ten level starter, potential all Big Ten player, but it's just been the health thing that has gotten in the way of him playing. He's healthy now, and knock on wood, he stays healthy. And if he does, he's going to have over 100 tackles. He's going to create probably 4 or 5 forced fumbles. He's just a really dynamic player, and he's going to be an all Big Ten player if he can stay healthy. Yeah, no, you've got me intrigued. John, who leads this team in tackles?
He's got me intrigued too, because that was going to be my pick. Because just the way everybody's talked about him, and you heard the coaches talk about him at Media Day, there's this part of me that think Jackson Rexroth's going to have a big year. And again, West Burlington. Yeah, because it's son of a West Burlington, former West Burlington great. So we'll throw him out. He's a quad O. So I'm gonna throw it out that it's one of those two, and that's kind of But I'm gonna say it. I'm with Tom, but I'm also gonna throw out you're gonna see a big year out of Jackson Rexroth. So
I love it. Let's talk a little offense, because I think that's where. It's weird, guys, because everyone's more bullish on offense than defense this year, it's like bizarro world in Iowa City where there's more confidence maybe in the offense than the defense. There's no reason to get into quarterback questions because we know who's going to lead the team in the quarterback, hopefully, unless there's an injury or anything like that. But I am fascinated by this running back situation. I mean, just completely fascinated by it because I don't think we know, and it's the second straight year where I don't think we know. And they've, I want to say, tried to hand it to Kamari Moulton, but and he played well at times last year. But who leads Iowa in rushing when the season's done? John, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Kamari Moulton, but I also think Jazz Patterson's going to have a really good year. So I'm going to go with Moulton, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's a really good group, and I mean I think of course, you look last year, that was a really good group, and then Caleb Johnson kind of broke out. But I'm going to say Kamari Moulton because I think he's ready to step in and be the number one guy, and that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, Jazz Patterson is somebody that I've been intrigued by him for a couple years now. So, Tommy, have you officially hopped on the? Are you leading the McNeil train now? Is that a thing for you?
Well, that was in the spring. I said, boy, he's interesting, and he's become more interesting as things have gone along. And the reality is Kamari hasn't been available in fall camp. He's had the hamstring issue, and that's created an opening for Nathan McNeil, and for I keep an eye on too Xavier Williams. But remember last year, I came into the season singing the praises of Kamari and saying that he was going to be the breakout guy, and then after the first game of the year, it was pretty apparent that Caleb Johnson was going to be the guy, and the rest, as they say, is history. And but I think I'm going to go with McNeil just because I think there's hamstrings tend to just linger. They just do. Once it goes bad, it just kind of hangs around the entire year until you get some time off. So I'm going to go with McNeil. Ended up leading Iowa in rushing.
You know what's funny is last year, obviously Caleb Johnson did what he did. And this isn't like going out on a limb, but that doesn't happen this year. Like, I really do think that it might be a by committee or something where it's by committee early and somebody gets it, but I don't think they get it and run like Caleb did. I mean, that's a season that's hard to match, but I don't think the coaches know how this thing goes. I think it might be a hot hand type of thing, and whoever gets that opportunity and makes the most of it will stay out in the field. And I can see multiple games where several Hawkeyes have nice rushing games, because I don't know if this is a star yet or if it's a lead by committee type of thing. Receiving. This is and it might be it could be Addison Ostrenga that leads the team in receiving, but who leads it in rushing yards, and Tommy, please tell me it's going to be more than 500. Whoever does, tell me it's going to be a wide receiver, and the beauty thing is there's a lot of choices. I've heard the Seth Anderson love, the Van Zee love. I've heard the KJ Parker love. I've heard there's a lot of hype from, and then so I guess your leading receiver for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. Tommy, we'll start with you.
I'm on the Seth Anderson train. I had him in my preseason thing as the guy who leads it. Again, it's a health thing too, because he has never been healthy for a full year, but he's been their best guy in the spring. He's been one of their best guys in fall camp. He seems to have a pretty good chemistry with Gronowski. So I'm going to go with Seth Anderson and probably 650 yards, something like that. So we'll break that streak. And I think it's going to be pretty balanced. I think it'll be him and Vanderzee are probably 1-2 this year.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is we've never seen these wide receivers with Gronowski and what that chemistry is going to be like. John, your thoughts on a leading receiver for the Hawkeyes in 2025?
I'm going to say a big year for Reese Vanderzee, but I'm also on the Seth Anderson bandwagon for two reasons. One, I do think he's healthy. I'm like Tom, he's going to stay that way the whole year. And two, he is the son of Flipper Anderson, Rams great. So,
yes.
So I'm going to throw out Seth Anderson too on that one. So
I love it. It's good to have options. Like, usually going into a season, it's like, if this guy doesn't do something, like, and I guess I'll ask this question. And this isn't part of the paper. I'm writing these down, boys. I'm going to hold you to these. But
okay.
Where does tight end fit in the pecking order? Is Addison Ostrenga the third leading receiver? Is he 4? Is it Ortworth? I mean, it's so strange to go into a season with the tight end not being option 1 almost on the passing game.
I think there's gonna be more tight end passing than you really believe that there will be. Gronowski is really comfortable using the tight ends. You look at what he did at South Dakota State with Tucker Kraft, who's gone on to do good things for the Packers. He likes to throw to tight ends, and I think they like those seam routes quite a bit. You saw my Bears run that the other day with the great Ben Johnson. They run that seam route with the tight end. You're going to see some of that with the Hawkeyes this year.
The great Ben Johnson. He's an offensive masterpiece. Benedict is his first name. If you want to go full.
Oh,
if you're wondering, that's what the birth certificate says. I think. I don't know. John, where do you see tight end in this whole thing? Is it second, third, fourth? Because for years it was Laporta, and we knew who it was going to be at the top of the list. It's not option number one right now. I don't think.
Right. No, and I found that interesting too. That there isn't really a lot of talk about it, and I don't know if that part of that is because they do it every year and they always find somebody. But I do think I'm like Tom in the sense that I do think he will throw to the tight ends a lot. But I do think that this group of wide receivers, there is a lot of depth there now. And in the last few years, there's been that kind of that drop off after a certain number. So and just listening to Tim Lester at Media Day, that they're really trying to find ways to use those wide receivers. So that's why I think at the end of the year, who leads them in receiving yards is going to be a receiver. But I still think the tight ends are going to be a big part of this offense and what they do. It's just going to be who kind of steps up out of that group. So we'll see there.
Yeah, Addison Ostranga is my guy. He's been at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing 2 straight years, so I want him to have a huge year.
And that's all that matters. Yeah, so.
Really. If you're nice to me, that's all that we really need. So,
in the end, it pays itself back. So.
Yeah. I'm the gift that keeps on giving, John. I don't know if people know that.
Right.
Touchdowns. Who scores the most touchdowns? And I want to say get it into the end zone. I don't want Gronowski's going to throw 25 touchdowns. Who's scoring the touchdowns? Who leads the Hawkeyes in touchdowns this season? John, I'll start with you.
Wow. I think that's where you're going to find the tight ends. And I think that's where they will be used a lot. So I'm going to go with Addison Ostranga on that one.
Love it. He's the best. Tell me who gets the pay. Who has Delp saying touchdown Iowa the most this year?
I'm going to go with Jazz Patterson.
Oh.
As the rushing guy, and Reese Vanderzee will lead them in receiving touchdowns.
So who has the most?
Jazz. Yes. Jazz will have double figures.
Is that because you see him as the goal line back?
Kind of goal line back. I think Gronowski's going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns too. I think they're going to kind of do some tush push kind of stuff down near the goal line as well.
Oh man, I can't believe it's 11 days until Iowa football begins. Before we let you go, Tom, I'll start with you. Are you still bullish on this team? I mean, we've talked throughout the postseason or preseason, all that kind of stuff. You still are comfortable with your 8? Or your, what are you, 9-3?
9-3, still comfortable. Yeah, I know some doom and gloom's kind of crept into some of the Iowa fan thinking in the last week, and it's just, because we're clinging to every morsel of information. The game cannot get the first game can't get here soon enough because now people are just freaking out over every little nuanced thing. But I think they're going to pile up some points in 2 of the first 3 games, and I know people are concerned about Gronowski because he's been rusty, and Kirk has said that, but I think he's going to be fine. His mobility is going to be a real asset this year.
Yeah, it's amazing, John, what a subpar Kids Day will do. I think in the eyes of the fans. Have you made a prediction yet? I mean, Tom. Well, the thing with Tom is I have to keep asking him, John, because he likes to change his predictions as he goes. So I want to make sure that I stick with him and all that kind of stuff. No, John, do you have a prediction on a record this year? And are you bullish with these guys right now?
Yeah, and I'm in that 9-3 category. And I will just say this because I went on. It wasn't a rant. It was just a one little tweet thing on X or Twitter or whatever. Are we really doing this about Mark Gronowski when you look at his resume? I mean, this is a guy that won, threw for 10,000 yards, won 2 national titles at a really good level of football at a really good program. And I've seen him play, so I know. I'm not worried about him. I even if he is a little rusty, I am not worried about him. I think, obviously you have to keep him healthy, but this is a guy that I think if he doesn't get hurt, if he doesn't have the malaise that their quarterbacks always seem to get, that's a 10,000. That's the resume speaks for itself. He's going to have a big year. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm going 9-3, maybe 10-2.
There we go. There we go, John.
Hey, Matt. One other thing, Matt. The quarterback room is just so much deeper and better this year than it has been in the past. I mean, Hank Brown has had a really good camp, and
you can't be on here without talking about the Hank tank, can you?
I know. I've beaten that drum, the Hank Brown bandwagon, but Hiklinski is good too. He's a really talented quarterback too. I mean, I think their top 3 quarterbacks are as good as anybody they had last year on the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, they're deeper and more talented at that position. It's the most important position. I think Gronowski's going to be fine. I think he's just got to get a game under his belt. And once he gets going, gets a couple scores on the board, Iowa's up 35-0 at half, everybody will be happy.
Ooh, I like that. Here's the thing. If Gronowski's not good, it's to the point where it's not them, it's us. It's Iowa's fault.
Right.
Like if you can't, like, I feel like if it's that point, then you could bring in the great Caleb Williams and he would struggle in Iowa City, and he's the greatest quarterback ever. So like, I feel like it's to the point where it'd be them, not us. And here's the other thing. I think what Tom said depth wise, if we do have like, an ankle injury that keeps Gronowski out for a week or two, I don't think that's an automatic 2 losses, because I think you can have a guy that can come in and get you a win if you need to get a win or 2 in October or so. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't know if you guys knew this, I'm on the 12-0 bandwagon. I think they go undefeated, win the national championship. I have to say that because I do radio now for them, so I can not say anything critical about anything. So I think
waving the banner.
I think everybody's great.
You're now behind the wall. You're on the other side of the wall.
Now, before we go, guys, I get to join the adult table this year. I'm going to be up in the press box. John, is it true?
You know what?
Go ahead, Tom.
You know what he's most excited about, John? Is that he gets to eat the food.
Real food.
Oh,
Real
yes.
food.
Carving table, baby. Which, by the way, I have this feeling we're going to be limited. But
hot
anyway.
Hot dog at halftime.
I have this feeling that they've got $21 million they got to come up with, and they're going to take it out of our media budget. But you're going to love sitting with us because it gets wild up there. So,
yeah, I hear I hear like Kakert throws punches. You've been known to throw things at the
he and I sit together, and it's
I don't even know exactly where, like, I know I have a credential. I think it's to go up there. I'm not on the field, I don't think. So who knows?
Well, you can come sit by John and I if you'd like.
I just maybe like, maybe Pat says something inappropriate and I just slide in. I don't know. You never know what happens. Pat would never say anything.
Well, you'd be right down the hall just in case. I mean, they can come out. Delp can come out, point to the left-hander, and call you out of the bullpen.
We already have a meeting this Thursday. By the way, Pat will be on Friday for anyone who's watching and wondering. Pat's going to join us on Friday. But we got a meeting up there and a dinner on Thursday. And I already got the text message of like, hey, you want to carpool? I'm like, is this a thing? We're going to do this? So I guess that's what we're looking forward to and doing. So, gentlemen, I can't wait to be on the big boy table this year. I appreciate that. I'm keeping this. I'm going to frame it, laminate it, something like that. We'll go back through it maybe midway through the year. We'll go through it at the end of the year and see who's right, who's wrong, all those kind of things. Get ready. 11 days away. I appreciate both you guys.
We're here. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That is Tom Kakert and John Bohnenkamp talking Iowa football. It'll be here before you know it. And as I mentioned, Pat Anger. Tom Kakert, Pat Anger, same thing. Pat Anger will be here with us on Friday. And actually, Chad Leistico will join us on Thursday as well. So we'll get you set for the Iowa football season as we go. We got more to get to after the break. We'll talk a little basketball. College basketball, Jordan Delp and the Augustana Vikings signed a really good recruiting class, and it has a lot of local talent. I love that. We'll talk about it with Jordan Delp next right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. We're talking a lot of football these days, rightfully so. High school, college, professional football right around the corner, but in my mind, it's always basketball season, and college basketball season will be here before you know it, and that includes at Augustana, where Jordan Delp continues to do good things at his alma mater. We're joined now by the head coach of the Augustana Vikings, and JD, I wanted to have you on because for a couple reasons. I want to talk about Chasson Randle a little bit, somebody I know you know very well, but it is basketball season all year round, and your recruiting class was recently announced, and I know you lost a lot from last year, you got guys coming back. I'm not saying that, but you lost quality, but you lost a lot of guys too. So I knew it was going to be a big class. I guess before we talk specifics, what was your goal? I guess if that makes any sense, as you entered the offseason and kind of restockpiling what you had.
Yeah. So, I mean, we certainly just from a quantity standpoint, right, it's a big class and we needed that. We lost 8 seniors. We had a little bit of other attrition in our program, as you usually do. And we like to keep around 22 to 24 guys on our roster so that we can have a full JV program and so that we can practice the way we need to practice. And so we needed to get back to that number. And so that was part of it, of course, right? Now, we're not just in the business of grabbing guys off the street either, right? These are all guys who we had a chance to actively recruit and build relationships with outside of a couple of the international guys where we weren't able to see them play. Of course, I'd love it if Augie wanted to send me to Montenegro to recruit, but I don't think that's in the cards, right? But we were certainly able to build those relationships. And, I think if you read the press release, one thing that I really highlighted was the collective toughness of this group, right? And that's something that we want to be known for, right? We're not going to back down from any challenge, and we're going to make sure that we're ready to compete in any environment we have a chance to compete in. And so making sure that we had guys who had that type of mindset and wanted to go to work with a group of guys that were fighting for that shared goal and trying to kind of continue to get things done the right way is something that we're excited about. And I think this group to a T really exemplifies that Augie ego of team first and that Viking rule of no excuses, get it done. And like I said, it's a tough group.
Yeah, you know me because I look at the list and I'm looking local guys. That's and yourself, relatively local. And you look at the Roars and the Tavian Johnsons and the Dylan Sortillos, and I'm going to miss a bunch if I don't stop, so I'm going to stop. But, there's always that great tie to the Quad Cities, and that's what I loved about this group myself, because you saw, I think, 4 local guys, including some guys that have college experience coming back. Before we get into the specifics of who they are and all those kind of things, I know that's important to you. Yeah. I know that's not all you're looking for, but when you can check a couple boxes at the same time and one of them says Quad Cities or local, I know that's got to be an exciting thing for you.
Right. One thing that we talk about with a lot of people we have a chance to meet with is, well, have you ever heard the saying availability is the most important ability, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah, I hate that saying. I think it's stupid. The most important ability is ability, right? I'm available as heck, but nobody wants me to play for them anymore, right? And nor should they.
That's me.
Exactly. Right.
That's my
feel you, right?
There's
no more C League banners to hang for Matt Randazzo, right? I get it.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
I get it.
Thank you for the drop.
But so that's where we start, right? We have guys who are able. And when you add in certainly that Quad City bent specifically that you're asking about, we want every player from here, every student athlete from here who we think can impact winning and who, more importantly, we think can be additive to our culture and is the right type of student to get his degree here. Well, we want them to know they have a home. And that's important to me on a number of different reasons. When I was here, right, and I don't like to go back in the time machine too much, but when I was here and we would do our game day shooting routine, right, where we would compete, we would have a Quad City group and we would have a Chicago group. Now, our breadth has certainly changed a lot since that time, as it needed to and as it should. But making sure that we have, again, those student athletes know they have a home here is important to me and will continue to be for a lot of different reasons. One, they're able. 2, a lot of those guys, all the ones that we've recruited, I've worked with since they were in junior high in some capacity, or at least known, right? I've got a picture of Cam Atkinson going into 8th grade up on my wall that
That's awesome.
I don't even think he knows is there yet, to be honest with you, right? But that was, an opportunity I had to work with him down in North Carolina going into 8th grade. I've known Marion forever. Cole's dad is our women's coach, right? He's been here, as long as I've been here almost, right? And I remember him as a 2nd grader in our camps. And Andre's a guy that I had a chance to build relationships with throughout his high school career, and I'm really excited to get the opportunity to coach again. So it's important to me to continue that trend, and it's important to us as a program. And, we hope it's important to our community as well, and we hope that'll help get them out to support us this one.
Absolutely. I want to talk about them specifically, and you mentioned kind of a quick run through them, but 2 Rocky kids with Cam Atkinson and Marian Anderson, they won a lot of basketball games at Rocky High School, and I covered them a lot, and talented kids. And I don't know if Cam ever got the love he probably should have. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I thought he was just an under the radar, really good player, really good shooter. To get those two Rock Island kids back in Rock Island, I know is good. And they've kind of gone out and gotten some experience besides Rock Island as well. That's got to be exciting for you.
Yeah, I mean, Cam's kind of a quiet assassin, right? And so he's not going to kind of be putting his name out there and trying to self-promote. And so, like, he just kind of goes about his business, right? He was in here this morning already getting his workout in the weight room, and he'll come back later tonight and get on the court. And he just kind of goes about his business and gets stuff done. And, man, I'm excited for the skill set that he brings. He's a 6'5" guy who can score on the wing in a number of different ways, who impacts the game defensively on the ball and off the ball, and who I think, again, as you said, really had an opportunity to mature. I mean, he was in Yuma, Arizona for 2 years. There ain't a lot to do in Yuma, right? So he buckled down and really took care of business in the classroom and had a heck of a career there for 2 years. And, think he really grew a lot as a player, and we're excited to have him back with us. And, Marian's a guy we tried to get to commit, let's say, right out of high school. And I thought he could – Marian is going to fill the stat sheet, but he's also going to fill the game in ways that don't come up in the stat sheet. And that young man impacts winning in ways that the Viking fans are going to be are going to enjoy watching, because you talk about play hard, play smart, play together. Like, that's kind of our Ito, right? He carries those things out to a T. And I think the culture of Rock Island basketball is very similar to the culture of Augustana basketball. We're going to get out and we're going to pressure you for 94 feet. And we're going to make you feel our presence on offense and on defense. We're going to be physical, and we're going to play with the type of toughness that is required in the Big Six and is required in the CCIW.
Jordan, you look at Andre Claver, and he's a kid that, man, when he's at Sterling, I couldn't think enough of him. I mean, I thought he was a D1-ish type player or talent, if that makes any sense. To get a talent like that, and we've seen him play, and he came down here to the Quad Cities a ton. He probably played in the shootouts, or not the shootouts, but the All-Star game and all that kind of stuff. To get him back, that's got to do so many different things. I look at Andre Claver and I think talented basketball player.
Yeah, Andre's different, and he's got a lot of growth still to make, and that should be scary for him and for a lot of others, because he is already a very talented individual. And he came to us last year, and he was hurt. He was injured, I should say, right? He had a back injury that limited he couldn't do anything. Right. And so he gets a red shirt. So he'll be a red shirt freshman for us, and he's healthy, and he's really starting to move well and get back into shape. And we're going to have to be smart with his track. But, man, when he's a very high level basketball player, athlete, and more importantly, young man. And, it's exciting to have him back with us. I've known him again since he was in junior high. Coach Lamont had an opportunity to coach him in AAU. I got to watch him in a ton of Big Six games throughout the years, of course, right? And yeah, he changes things for us in a number of different ways, for sure.
Last local kid I want to talk to you about is a kid who probably grew up there. Beinborn and Augustana kind of goes hand in hand. I wish I had Mark on here. I could ask him who the best Beinborn is, because obviously Macy could play. And
yeah, I don't think he's back there yet.
He's not as hardworking as you, Jordan. He's not in the office yet this early in the morning. But
shit, he's on the court somewhere is what he's doing. Mark's working his tail off.
I have a feeling Mark will still let everybody know that he's the most talented Beinborn. But to get Cole to get into your program and somebody a lot is probably exciting as well.
Absolutely. Cole, like I said, I've known Cole since, I think, second grade. And he was running around in camps, and I had the opportunity to work with him as a player. And I've known his dad for 20 years. I've worked with his sister. I've traveled to Greece with him, right? I've seen the world with him already. And I'm really excited to have him with us, right? And one thing that really stood out to me, we had our camp this summer, right? We had kids camp the second week in July. It's hot in that gym. And Cole was able to come and be a camp counselor for us, a coach. And, the way that he ran his basket and communicated with those kids and made sure they were to task and made sure they were being productive and getting better and staying a little bit or getting more connected was really impressive. Now, you take that and he does that for 9 hours because we got a long camp, right? And then we come back later that night and, we're in the weight room working out and I hear him chirping with his teammates too, right? And so it's an exciting thing. One of the hardest adjustments for players to make when they go to the next level, kind of whatever that is, junior high to high school to college, whatever, is to understand how much you have to communicate early, loudly, and often. And Cole already kind of has some of those things figured out, right? He's been around college basketball his whole life. And so he kind of understands those standards and those expectations, right? So that he's already got that part figured out. We're going to have to add some things, of course, but now, right, he just gets to focus on learning our systems, learning how we play, and making sure he's ready to impact winning as early as possible. And we'll see where he's at.
Jordan Delp joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A little bit of the off season for you because we kind of joked before you started. These are the glory days of being a head coach. What is this time like? Because I know that there's still work being done and all those kind of things. It's kind of the calm before the storm a little bit. What is end of August, September like for Augustana? As you know, Jordan, you're going to blink and there's going to be basketball to be played. So I know it goes quick.
Yeah, we actually start school a little later here, right? So we don't start until the Tuesday after Labor Day. So we still have a little bit of time before our guys get here. So a lot of it right now is planning and preparation for getting them back and, making sure that our weight room sessions and our open gyms and all of those logistical things that we have to have lined up are lined up for them, right? And today will be a big equipment inventory day, right? So I'll make sure I'm looking at the list, but just make sure that we have all the stuff we need from an equipment standpoint to be ready for our guys, right? But, the last couple of days we've spent around kind of 8 hours or so as a coaching staff meeting and getting on the same page and trying to make sure that we know how we want to try to put our guys in the best situations to be successful, right? Because no two teams are the same. So no two kind of systematic offerings we provide for them can be the same, right? Now there's going to be a lot of consistency, okay? And certainly there's going to be the standards that are going to remain the same, but the tactics and the strategy have to adapt to the players we have. And so we've spent a lot of time developing that and now meeting and making sure we're basically stress testing it, right? And trying to figure out where the gaps are and where we still have to fill in and find answers. And obviously recruiting never stops as well, right? So that's a big part of what we're doing now. But again, it's tied to being ready for, our first non-traditional practice is September 30th. And
wow.
So, that's not that far away, right?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to make sure that we're as ready as possible to greet these guys when they get here and then have them as ready as possible for November 11th when we have our home opener.
One more about Augustana and maybe yourself, and I know you don't like talking about yourself, but how comfortable have you become? And I knew you were to begin with, but there's the transition and all this kind of stuff, and now you're not the new coach anymore. Do you feel a little more comfortable, if that's a thing, or was it comfort from the start?
Well, I mean, yes and no, right? In some ways, this is home. Well, in all ways, this is home from a school standpoint, right? And so I understand Augustana, and I understand Augustana basketball, and I've gotten to understand the Quad Cities in the 20 years that I've lived here, right? So I do kind of understand and am comfortable in those ways, but certainly there are things that I continue to learn and grow in every single day, right? And I'll be honest, I don't really want to be comfortable. I don't think there's a lot of growth in comfort, right? I think there's more growth in discomfort. And so we have to continue to stretch ourselves and continue to grow. If we're going to ask that of our guys, we have to model that ourselves as well. And so in some ways, I'd like to continue feeling more comfortable in some ways, but in terms of continuing to keep it pushing for our guys, we have to live in that discomfort and embrace it.
Absolutely. Jordan Delp joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Going to ask you a couple more. And I knew you were supposed to be on the show soon because I think that was yesterday's recruiting class was like the last of three things throughout the last couple weeks. And I'll start with the first one was when Chasson Randle gets announced as a Hall of Famer at Stanford. And you might be like me. I don't know why, but I felt like a proud parent, and I didn't do anything, but like I've known him like you have forever, and I've watched his growth, his maturity, his journey. I tell him all the time he needs to write a book because the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs are amazing. And I remember when he picked Stanford, and it was a big deal. To get that news about Chasson Randle, and I know he's somebody you worked with a lot and probably still do work with if you can. Your thoughts on Chasson Randle, the Hall of Famer at Stanford?
Yeah, I think the ebbs and flows of his career and his path may have been up and down, certainly, but the work ethic and the man and the things that he's about, the values were consistent and were always there. And that's what stands out most to me. They don't make him better than Chasson Randle. And that is a guy who on the court will go right at your head and will attack and will compete to the final buzzer. But off the court is a gentleman and a scholar and a fine young man. And, I don't know that I had certainly some of those exact same thoughts, but I'm just extremely proud and happy for him. He earned it. I don't know. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me, right? Like it just makes sense. I was kind of surprised it hadn't happened already. But, it's not something necessarily that's on your radar either, right? Like I know it's something that he is extremely grateful for and proud of and should be. And I mean, that to call yourself a Hall of Famer at Stanford, that's a pretty special distinction. And he's a pretty special young man. So I'm not surprised one bit. And yeah, I mean, he just, I think the phrase that our players would probably vote on that I use the most would be stay together, keep coming. And to a T, that guy just kind of goes about his business, like I was saying before, and is loyal, but will continue to keep coming. And that loyalty comes with pushing you to keep getting better while he's improving himself. And he makes every room he leaves every room better than he found it. And I know that's a cliche, but it's also true. And it's something he earned and something he should be proud of forever.
Well said. One more for you. Daniel Carr is going to play overseas professional basketball. And I know that's something, the young man, you're proud of the young man. He put the work in, all of those kind of things, but it's good for Augustana basketball as well. I mean, you have guys continue, and I remember, and I don't want to forget who has in between maybe, but I remember when Krishan Orange played overseas and Nolan O'Ebel played overseas, and there was other opportunities. So twofold for you. One, seeing that young man, knowing him, knowing the work he put in, your thoughts on that. And then program-wise, players from your program playing professional basketball has to be a good thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring up Nolan and Krishan in particular because I'm looking to my left at Nolan's professional jersey and Hunter's professional jersey, but Krishan never came through for me.
Wow.
So not to throw him under the bus. But
I'll send this way. I'll send it his way. We'll see if that works.
But no, it is certainly something that when I was a senior in high school, there was a senior in college here who was Coach Giovanni's first professional player. And we've ended up, I need to do the math again now, but I think I have 12 since then. And Daniel Carr being the next in that line is a fitting, not end to his career, but a fitting way for him to kind of move on, right? And you talk about a path. He played 4 years here, obviously went through COVID. Is a 1,000-point scorer and one of the best rebounders in our program's history, and had a fifth year. And was going to go use it at Rockhurst. And about 2 weeks before he was supposed to leave, he tore his ACL. And thought, man, okay, my career's over. And Rockhurst went through a coaching change, and he kept working right to get back. And they honored his scholarship, and he had an opportunity to go there this past year and play his fifth year, and just went down and did the exact same things, right? He shot it in. He had the best hands in Division II basketball. Any rebound that was near him was in his hands, and he had it. And he's going to have an opportunity to go play professionally and continue his career. But I think even cooler than that, he's going to have a chance to go play in Scotland and has family still in England who will be able to go watch him play, who have never really had the opportunity to see him play in person. And his parents will get to go travel over there and see him play, where they're from, right? And I think that is a really unique situation, right? That's not something we've had in the past, okay? And so I'm really excited for Daniel. He's getting ready to leave here. I think he leaves Thursday. And so we're going to try to connect one more time and I'll just wish him the best of luck and tell him to go be him and go be great, and he'll go do his thing. And and the beautiful thing for a guy like him, he's going to have an opportunity to keep playing and play as long as he wants, probably. But because of what he did as a student here, when he comes back, he's going to be able to get into his career and work on that path as well. And that's kind of the most important thing for me, right? Like Daniel was an academic All-American here, right? And that requires team success, individual success on the court. But obviously the biggest component of that is that success in the classroom. And those traits and that work ethic that led to that is going to help him continue to have success in his pro career as he starts that. And we couldn't be more excited for him or proud of him, and can't wait to see what he does.
It's
from
cool
a program standpoint. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, it's cool when you say that, because you think basketball and that's all it's about, but it's not. Like the things that the game of basketball do for these young men, getting them back in Scotland, seeing family. Will Carrius was on recently, and the things that the game of basketball has allowed him to do as a person, and the experiences. Everyone thinks basketball, and it's a great game. We love the game, but it's cool to watch basketball, give you so much more than just the game itself, is what I was going to kind of hop in and say. So,
yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I could take that a number of different ways, but we want basketball. We want to use basketball for us and to teach us. We don't want to let it use us, right? Yeah. We want to make sure that we are utilizing this game to teach much more important lessons of that. We tell kids that basketball should be the third reason you come here, right? The second reason you come here is because it's the place you believe you should come and get your degree. And the biggest reason you should come here is because it's a place you think you can come and grow as much, so that when you leave, you're ready to be a wonderful member of your community, a phenomenal father, and an awesome husband someday. And that's kind of what our messaging is. And that's what we're trying to use this game to help teach, to everybody that we have the chance to impact.
It's so well said. Jordan, I love it. I could talk to you all morning. I know you got like weights to put away and all those fun things.
We got to do.
So I love it. Basketball season's going to be here before you know it. Always appreciate you. Every time I bug you, you come through. And I appreciate that as well. So keep doing good things, and we'll talk basketball again real soon.
Matt, thank you again for having me, and congratulations on all your success with this, man. It's been fun to watch, and I know it was a leap of faith when we talked. I don't know how long ago it is. You'd have to remind me. The days run through, right? But it's one you should be proud of, and one I continue to watch with bated breath to see where we go next. And I know we got some moves here coming, and I'm excited for them. But congratulations, man, and keep it pushing.
I love it. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you. That is Jordan Delp, the head coach at Augustana. Talk a little basketball here as we get ready for football season to start. A lot more to get to. Coming up, we'll get back to football. We're going to turn our attention to Bettendorf High School today, their preview and their head coach, Aaron Wiley. It's all straight ahead right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. High school football season, as we've been talking about, is right around the corner. 1 week from this Friday. A couple weeks ago, we started previewing a team in Iowa and Illinois every single day here on the show. Yesterday, we talked a ton about Illinois, from our kickoff show on Sunday. So we'll get back over to the Hawkeye State and talk to one of my favorite people. I don't know if he knows he's one of my favorite people, but he is. Head coach over at Bettendorf, Aaron Wiley, joins me right now. First and foremost, my friend, thank you for doing this. I felt like it was weird because I usually bug you and come over and I'm sweating my butt off and putting a camera in your face and all that kind of stuff. This is a little easier. You're in the comforts of your living room. I'm nice and cool in my loft. Life's good.
I thought it was because we had a restraining order on you or something over there. They wouldn't let you come to our area anymore. No, this is good, though. Good to see you too, man.
That may be. I think the anger probably did. It's probably something to do with him. Guilt by association.
Most likely is.
It's probably guilt by association, an accomplice or something like that. So before we start talking about the season, I want to talk to you because, boy, you've been at Bettendorf, I think, since Moses was around. I mean, it's 30-plus years at Bettendorf. And,
it's been a while, man.
And a lot as the head coach. I think you said 07 or 08, something like that. We didn't want to do math, and I understand that. I don't like doing math. When you hear those kind of things, what do you think when it comes to longevity and being at a school for as long as you've been there?
I guess it makes me feel like I'm old, man. I don't know. I knew I was getting old when I started coaching the kids, the people I already coached, and I'm like, it's been here a while. It's been a great run, and this is, I guess it's my 30th year at Bettendorf. So I got here in 1996. So man, we're still charging along, I guess.
Yeah. And I want to talk about this year's team, but when you look at some of the people that you've gotten to work alongside, work for, got to coach, I mean, that's gotta be cool. And obviously you followed legends, when it came to your position as a head coach, but the coaches you coached alongside with, I think fracking's back now, which is amazing, but kind of talk about that because you've gotten to work with some really good people being in that program.
Oh, I'll be honest, man. I was really, really blessed to get hired here. And when I got hired in 1996, I moved here, and Merv Hobenick was the head coach, won 5 state titles. He's the guy that built the program into, what it was. And they hired me. I was the young guy. And at the time, they had the same staff. All of them had been the same for years and years. And they hired me. I was the sophomore line coach for a year, and then one of the guys retired, and I became the defensive coordinator in 1997. And I was the first new guy on that coaching staff that they'd had in forever. And that year, 97, we went 5-4, and it was like the first time they hadn't made the playoffs. And here, I'm the new guy, it was kind of like, wow, Bettendorf lost, And then after that, that was 97, and then we went, I think, 5 straight years to the semifinals and, championship game, and won a couple state titles. After Mervyn got out he got out in 99 was his last year, and Randy Scott, who was the longtime line coach, became the head coach, and he kept me as a defense coordinator. And I did that with Randy until, he got out in 07, and we won a couple state titles during that run. And then I took over for Randy in 08, and God, here we are. So, it's been a while. Thanks for making me feel old, Matt. I appreciate it.
What did you learn from those guys? You're talking about 2 coaches that, I grew up reading about and watching and then got to cover Coach Scott for a while. What did you learn from those 2 guys?
2 things, I guess. It's really simple for me. You demand people have a high bar. You make people, you set the bar high. I guess I'll say it this way. You set the bar high, and then you make people go to where you set the bar. And, I learned that right when I got here. There was an expectation of here's how you do things, and make them do things that way. I mean, you can't have rules and then not follow them. And you can't set an expectation and then allow people to not do the expectation. I mean, and that sounds like a really simple thing, but honestly, I think if I had to pick the one thing with those 2 guys, the bar was just set really, really high on everybody and everybody around it. And, also both of them, allowed their assistants to coach. You know, they both hired great, people around them. There were so many great assistants, and they both turned over a lot of responsibility to those guys. I think if you're gonna, my philosophy has always been, if you're gonna have coaches that you're gonna expect a lot out of and expect them to put the time in that's required to do this, you got to give them responsibility. And both Randy and both did that, and they allowed the assistants to coach, and then obviously we had great kids all those years. We had great kids that played hard, and the community really supports football here, and it has it's a great place to coach. Back in those days, especially, we're great kids, and those guys had a lot of success.
Aaron Wiley joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, you look at this year, and it was a good season last year, and you won your first 8 games, and it was an unfortunate early exit from the postseason, but that's football in the state of Iowa. What did you guys learn about yourselves last year, and how do you – I know you're that guy because I've been over there so often. You don't look back, you look forward, but what did you learn? It was nice, and the expectations are high. Usually if a team wins 8 games and goes 8-1, they're holding parades. That's not the way it is over there, is it?
No, I always tell our kids that there's 2 seasons. You do the first season to get into the second season, meaning a regular season. But the one everybody's going to remember is how you do at the end. Everybody's going to remember the playoffs, and nobody's going to remember the record you had in the regular. You always want to win all your games, obviously, and that's obviously a goal. But at the end of the day, they're going to remember how you did at the end. You're going to remember your playoff run and how far you went, and did you get it done. And that's kind of the hard part about football. Well, all sports, I guess. There's one team that leaves happy at the end. Everybody gets beat at some point at the end. And you hope you can make a deep run. And we didn't get it done last year. We just, we ran into a tough team. They were good, and we had some tight games earlier in the year with people, and we found ways to win, and they got us in this one in the playoffs. So it was a hard one to swallow.
What was this summer like with commitment from kids and motivation, all that kind of stuff? What's the summer been like before we get into what you have? What's the off season been like for you guys?
Yeah, what we did, I guess, starting, 3 or 4 years ago, we kind of started doing this, is we used to always be in this hurry to get everything installed as fast as possible, and we try to run over to as many 7-on-7 things as we could do, and we were always in this big hurry to be ready for 7-on-7 and get ready. And I guess I made a decision a few years ago. We're going to slow down, and we're going to just teach and we're going to, crawl before you walk and walk before you run. I guess I always believe it starts up front, I think if you can't stop people on defense, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And, I like kind of our front 7. We have a really, really good middle linebacker, who's a Division I guy, and Gavin Stecker. He was a starter last year as a sophomore, and I think was second on our team in tackles. And he's got some D1 interest over the year here, and he's a really, really good football player. So that's kind of a starting point. Got a couple guys back in our front 4, and I hope we can be good on defense, because if you're not good up front on defense, unless you're just ridiculously talented on offense, then you're not going to win against anybody that's any good. So I think we can be pretty good there. I like our skill guys on offense. We'll see where that goes. Again, we're just kind of still in the process of evaluating guys still, and how are we doing now that we got pads on a little bit. And so we still got a ways to go in the evaluation process on some of these guys.
You mentioned Gavin, and he got that Iowa offer, and so I have to ask you, because you had some knucklehead running around like an idiot with a 43 on his back that had a good career at Iowa and a little further than that. But you've had great linebackers. It's funny, I always give Pat a hard time at Iowa and at Bettendorf, because you see that 43 running around and you think about Pat, but even Nate Shaw, some other guys that have come through. And I'm going to miss a bunch, so I'm not going to start naming them. I don't want to compare Gavin to Pat, but you've coached good middle linebackers. Where does he kind of fit in with that mold of guys that you've gotten to coach at Bettendorf?
Well, first of all, I'll take Pat Anger back if we can have him back.
He'd be a defensive tackle these days. He wouldn't be a middle linebacker. He'd be a defensive tackle.
I think Pat would line up and be okay with wherever he wanted to play. He'd be just fine. But no, Gavin, I don't like doing that, comparing him to past guys. That's hard to do.
Sure.
But he's right in the mix. But here's the thing: he's got 2 more years with us. He was only a sophomore last year. Last year he played at about 175. He weighs about 205 right now, and that's all really, really good weight room weight. It's not. I mean, he's really, really had a great offseason that way. He's way stronger. He's faster than he was. He's more explosive. So I think you're going to see him have a big time year. I hope. I mean, for us to do anything, he's got to have a great year for us.
Absolutely. Aaron Wiley joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Some more for you before I let you sneak out of here. You don't have a scrimmage this weekend on Friday. Everybody else, a lot of people are doing that. Kind of talk about and that's something you guys don't do. What do you want to get done? And it's funny, I talked to some coaches on Sunday and they said, man, we wish we had like 3 more weeks. Are you in that boat where like, are you antsy to get hitting somebody different, or do you still need some time to figure some things out? You wish you could extend it a little bit. You can't, but you wish you could.
I guess the answer to that, is both. Because they've changed the rules a lot. Way back in the day, we used to do. I remember. Everybody talks about 2 days. I remember 3 days. Mm-hmm. Back in the old days, we'd come in the morning, we'd go for 3 hours, we'd bring them back at noon for an hour, then we'd go again at night for 3 hours. And I think it seemed like that went on for about 2 months. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't, but it was just I think you had a lot longer preseason. Yeah. Now the state has changed the rules. You can only go for 3 hours in a day. There's no more 2 days. So yeah, I kind of feel like, man, we got a game here in a week from Friday, and I'm not sure we're ready. Well, I know right now we're not ready yet, but I mean, so yeah, I wish we had a little more time, but by the same token, our guys been working out forever, summer stuff forever. And I know they're excited to get after it and play somebody different.
It's funny. You mentioned you have a game from Friday. You don't have a game. You kind of got a pretty big game with Pleasant Valley. Obviously, you guys have started the season for a while now off together. Last couple have gone your way. How big of a game do you let that be? It just, and I can do it. I'm the media, we can hype it. I'm not the media, but like, there's a lot of people like we hype it up and we get it. Yeah. And there's the rivalry side of things. Do you feed into that and use it? Do you try to downplay it? How do you kind of tackle that rivalry?
That's a good question. To me, we'd be preparing the same way, no matter who it was. I always look at it just a football game. Now, we all know it's more than that. Our kids know their kids. I mean, the two schools are, I don't know what they are, 2 miles apart or whatever it is. Most of our kids grew up playing whatever youth sports or whatever. Those kids, they all know each other. I know their coach as well. I mean, so yeah, obviously it's a game that's important to our fan base, our kids, our parents, but for me, I try to keep it as much as possible. Just, hey man, this is week 1. And it doesn't matter if it's Pleasant Valley or who it is. I mean, it's a football game that you don't want to start on a bad way. You want to win. Now, if you win, great. If you lose, great. It's one step at a time. It's not going to make or break our season either way. I think I just take a look at them last year. I think they lost to us week 1, and I think they won their next. God, did they win the next 8? I can't even remember.
I think 2 years ago they ran the table. Last year they may have lost one other time, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, what it was? Yeah,
you used it last year.
Yeah, you can lose the game, and yeah. So again, when I look at all these regular season games, you gotta win enough of them that you put yourself in a position to be in the playoffs, because the playoffs are when things really count. Absolutely. Now, again, for our kids, yeah, this is a huge game. They're playing. So yeah, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a big game for everybody. But to answer, do I approach it any differently than it was? No, not really. Yeah. We're just trying to get lined up and make sure we got the guys in the right positions and be ready to show up on Friday.
I love Coach Wiley because he always keeps things very simple. I think we both need to, because it's, what is it? Keep it simple, stupid. That's us. So we get that way. 2 more real quick ones for you. You mentioned 30 years in the coaching profession, and I've asked several coaches like this, veterans like yourself.
I think I'm 35 actually. Oh, wow. I'm 35 because I was 5 years at Cedar Falls before I came here.
You old guys or you veterans have asked like, what's different? And it's a loaded question. You could probably talk for an hour on the things that are different and not different. I always hear kids are different, and they probably are to an extent. I get that, but kids, I always feel like from covering them, kids are kids. Like their surroundings and what they have are maybe a little different, but kids are still. So I know it's a loaded question, but is there something that's like a huge difference between 30 years ago and now when it comes to the coaching profession?
Yeah, honestly, I think the big difference, I agree with you. Kids are kids. I think the big difference is the demands that get put on them from other people. I think when I went to high school back in the 80s, everybody played football. If you were an athlete, then everybody either played basketball or wrestled. Then everybody, either probably ran track or played baseball. You just kind of went from one sport to one sport to one sport. And when the sport was over, there wasn't really this year-round part of it. I mean, now I look at all these sports. Our wrestlers wrestle all year. Basketball, they play basketball all year. There's soccer tournament. I mean, there's fall baseball now. I played baseball in high school. I loved baseball in high school, and we never had fall baseball. It was football season in the fall. But now these kids, and it's, I think it's not even so much the high school coaches that put the demand on them. It's these club guys and the different, whatever you want to call it, the AAU people or the club people or whatever. They put a lot of pressure on these kids to do the one sport all year, and it's hard, man. I mean, my kids went through sports. I had a daughter that was volleyball and soccer. And I remember her, trying to manage those two things and just being in tears because, she had practice here and her club was doing this and trying to figure out how to manage. So it's hard for kids from that standpoint. And I don't know how you get the genie back in the bottle on this stuff. I mean, I think but I'm kind of rambling here to answer your question. I think that's maybe the biggest difference is the year-round component to a lot of these sports. Now, football and that's we're like the one sport probably that, we lift weights and run and do that stuff all year, but we're not doing really much football specific anything in the off season like these other sports are.
Yeah.
But that to me would be tough to be a kid because these kids all want to please their coaches. They want to do what's right. They want to please their coaches but they're getting dragged, in a lot of different directions. And now you throw social media on top of that. Kids got to manage that.
Yeah.
And, luckily I'm not smart enough to manage social. I don't go near that stuff very often. I'm kind of, but I know what the pressure that can put on kids, and so I think it'd be hard to be a kid right now.
Yeah.
I do. With all the stuff going on, So I think that's, I guess to answer your question, that's probably the biggest difference is the year-round part of how all these other sports are.
It's the specialization of sports. It's like I got to specialize in this one, and it's funny. My kids are getting to that age, and it's like my oldest is playing several sports, and I think he sometimes feels like when he goes to play that other sport, he's missing out because there's some kids that are playing that all year round, and so he's falling behind, if that makes any sense. But I
do. I couldn't remember I can remember my daughter. Like I said, she was soccer and volleyball, and her volleyball club she played on, I think she was the only girl on that team that didn't just play volleyball all year.
Yeah.
And her soccer club, she was one of the only girls on that team that didn't just play soccer all year.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to, and like I said, I saw firsthand as a parent the pressure that can put on a kid. And it's, I think at some point we all got to take a step back and evaluate what are we doing here with this, man? Is this really good for the kids to be doing this? I don't know. But that's where we are, and you just try to do your best to manage it, and you got to be flexible a little bit, I have, like, my kicker this year, he's a soccer kid, and there's some times when he's got to go do club soccer stuff, and if I told him you need to be at every football thing all day, every day, you know what, he probably wouldn't play football.
You would have a kicker.
So you got to be a little flexible with this, and you got to work with these other sports a little bit, and and if you're a kicker, do you really need to kick for 5 hours every day at football? Come in, get your stuff done, and then get out of here and you can go to soccer. So you got to be flexible about that a little bit. So we'll see. It's the world we're in, though.
I think you nailed it. It's funny. I was, and this was a few years ago, coaching basketball in January, and a kid came up to me. He's like, "Hey, coach, I got to leave a half hour early." I'm like, "Why's that?" And he's like, I got hitting lessons. This is January. Yeah. It's basketball season. In July, do you go up to your coach and be like, "Hey, I got to go to shoot"? So that's the way you're like I am. I remember in August I put my glove away, and then you get it back out in April. But I'll also say this: my kids are already better in baseball than I was, probably because they play all year round. So, Coach, before I let you go, we kind of talked about him a little bit, but I get to start this venture with the Hawkeye Radio Network, and we're now into year 2 of Pat Angerer being on live radio for 4 hours every Saturday, and he's yet to get himself in trouble. Is it still like, do you scratch your head a little bit knowing that he has a live microphone for 4 hours a week and he's yet to get himself in trouble?
Well, I guess I'm just glad he didn't have a live microphone back in the day when he was in high school, or then he might have got himself in trouble. But now, listen, Pat's great. Pat is gonna kill it at whatever job he does. He's a very, very driven person. You don't get to the level he got to as a pro by being average in how you go about your day. Though you look at anybody who's a pro in anything, they're not just very talented. They're very, very focused and driven. And you knew Pat was going to go be successful in whatever he does. Pat's great. He's going to kill it in that business as long as he wants to. So.
Yeah. No, he's doing a great job. Coach, you're doing a great job as always. I can't wait. It's Bettendorf PV week 1, no pressure. If you win, it's the greatest thing in the world. If you lose, they'll be coming for you like usual. So enjoy it. Beat the heat out there this week. Hopefully you don't get you're getting there and when it comes to age. So stay hydrated, okay?
I hear you. Well, Matt, good to see you, man. Good luck in your new endeavor. I hope it goes well.
I appreciate you. Take care, Coach. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay. You have a good night.
Right. That is Coach Wiley, the head coach over at Bettendorf High School, as we preview the Bulldogs as they get ready for a big one, week 1 against Pleasant Valley. We got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. It's Tuesday, August 19th. Happy birthday once again to my now 11-year-old Chase. That's my dude. So we're going to be celebrating this evening. Chase is 11. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody who's watching on YouTube, Twitter's been great today. X, whatever you want to call it, has been great today as well. If you're listening with the podcast platforms, the audio edition, we appreciate that as well. It was a fun day. Iowa football, college football in general, coming up very, very soon. We're going to try to figure out getting Jake Brend on the show. He's already in Ireland, so we got to figure out the logistics of it someday this week to talk about Iowa State, getting them ready for what should be a huge game on Saturday against Kansas State. Illinois starting a week from Friday, and then Iowa starts a week from this Saturday. On the show, we had Tom Kakert and John Bohnenkamp talking about the Hawkeyes and kind of what they think, or statistically, who will lead what categories this year as well. So we want to thank those two. Coming up on Thursday, we'll have Chad Leistico, I believe, and then Friday we'll chat with our good friend Pat Angerer to kind of get set, because next week is game week, and we're going to rock and roll and do a bunch of fun stuff with that as well. Also want to thank Jordan Delp. Really a fun recruiting class for him, but also some local talent to add to some local talent that's already there, plus the all-around talent. So love Jordan Delp. Does a great job. One of the best in the business. Also got his thoughts on Chasson Randle making the Stanford Hall of Fame. So check out Jordan Delp if you missed that. And then, of course, our preview today, high school-wise, was the Bettendorf Bulldogs and Aaron Wiley. Thank you to Coach Wiley for doing that as well. This morning, the Gender Classic announced that the dates are set for next year, June 29th through July 5th. So the 4th of July will fall on the Saturday of the John Deere Classic week, but I think we've done a good job embracing it as, something we're going to do when it comes to golf here in the Quad Cities, and maybe a 4th of July tradition to get out to the course and celebrate a little bit. So yeah, one of the concerts on the course next year will be a 4th of July concert. So it'll be interesting to see who fills in the concert slate as well. Andrew Lehman heading to Atlanta because he's a big timer for tour meetings. But he's going to join us next week, so we'll get caught up on all that stuff as well. I'll bug him about the concert stuff. I had some, either my nieces or one of my boys was already asking me, what's it going to be next year? So I know he doesn't know the answer, but I'm still going to bug him anyways. So awesome stuff for the John Deere Classic as well. If you missed our show on Sunday, View from the West podcast and Off the Air kind of teaming up to do a kickoff party down at the Other Bar in Moline. Go check it out. Coaches from all over the Western Big Six and the Three Rivers and the LLC and the all over the place. It was a ton of fun. So go check out that right now on either this YouTube page, on the Off the Air YouTube page, or on the View from the West YouTube page as well. Also, a few weeks back, we did an Iowa football preview show from Media Day. That was also a ton of fun. So go check out some old shows as well. Coming up tomorrow, we're hoping and efforting, and I believe we will have Corey Ross in studio, the IFL Coach of the Year, to wrap up what's been a really fun, awesome, entertaining season when it came to the Wheelers and what the future might hold as well. So that is the hope. We'll do some more off-the-air previews for high school football. And who knows what else will hop up before tomorrow as well. So a lot to get to this week. We're super excited about everything. We'll be starting a survivor pool when it comes to Off the Air. More details on that later this week. Also, we will be walking in the Labor Day Parade on Labor Day Monday. So if you are in the Rock Island area or Quad City area, you go into the parade, make sure you stop and say hi or yell at me or throw something at me. We got an intriguing way or I shouldn't say way to, but something intriguing to throw out to people. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're in the process of doing that as well. So it should be a ton of fun. So once again, thank you guys for watching today's show. It was a blast as always. And as always, I got to thank my fantastic sponsors and partners that allow me to do this show each and every day right here in the Quad Cities. Hungry Hobo, Rafferty Funeral Home, Godfathers, Quad City Steam Wheelers, Snoop's Chips and Salsa. Snoop's the best, and then Mobile Party Experience. We mentioned it a lot, but coming up during the football season, we'll do some fun shows with Mobile Party Experience out with us with one of their party trailers as well. So a lot to get to coming up this fall. Also, Skiles Driving School will soon be up and running with us as well. Just finishing up his commercial as well. So if you're interested in partnering up with or sponsoring Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, get a hold of me on social media at Matt Randazzo, the Facebook page. Direct message me. I'd love to talk as we continue to build and grow this show that we started last January, talking sports and anything else right here in the Quad Cities every day between 10 and around noon. So thanks again for joining us today. We'll be back for another show tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Have a great Tuesday, Quad Cities.